What's the problem you have with pesticides, personally?
Well, first of all, you know, we have to realize that the pesticides are everywhere. That's the #1 problem I have with them. We have to realize that they're in schoolyards or on golf courses. We have the spraying for mosquitoes, that trucks go around and spray the environment with mosquitoes. And what happens is that these pesticides are going to end up somewhere. And a lot of times the pesticides end up getting into our water. And then once they get into our water or our soil, then the plants actually grow in that soil. The pesticides get into the plants, and then we eat the food, and then the pesticides get into our body. So the #1 thing is that we're not going to be able to get away from pesticides. And we know that these pesticides in experimental situations, when they want to induce certain type of neurological conditions on animals, they use a dose of pesticide to do that. So there are studies out there that they show adverse effects on our health.
You've made some statements in this show already which are controversial. One of them is that plastic that holds water could be a problem. Another is that pesticides could be a problem, that there are a lot of toxins in the air and in our world today. I'm going to guess that you didn't wake up one day and have this view. It probably grew over time. I mean, when did you start to get aware of the idea that toxins can be a problem?
Well, when I got interested, I've been practicing for almost 25 years, and when I got interested into alternative medicine and treating different patients and really understanding how the physiology and chemistry works, not from a standpoint of view, but from a clinical standpoint, and I realized that the mechanisms that go on to allow our physiology or chemistry to work can be disrupted. And so if we're trying to correct the underlying cause of the problem, then what we need to do is we need to balance out the chemistry. And if taking the toxins out of the body or detoxifying those pathways or supporting the liver detoxification pathways, and we can rid these toxins, it's going to allow our body to function at a more optimal level.
Now, I understand that you have quite a few credentials, both your degree as a chiropractor, where you went to medical school, and then others that you went and sought to be able to talk about nutrition and some of these things you're talking about chemistry-wise. What are some of the different things you've done in your own personal schooling to get knowledgeable on these things?
Well, first of all, we have to realize that the chiropractic college I went to is a very educated, accredited college. And basically, most people in the lay public don't realize that, you know, chiropractors have quite a bit of training. And in some cases, we have more hours, like in x-rays, than medical doctors. And so, you know, once I got out of school, I actually got out and I started doing sports injuries because I was an athlete myself. And I was team doctor for the USA Karate team for 7 years. I traveled on the PGA Tour for 10 years. And basically, I was into the sports arena, and then I actually stumbled across alternative medicine, and when I came back and seen the results I was getting in my clinic, I knew there was more to it. So I took additional courses to postgraduate education courses to, you know, continue to learn, and I still do that today.
Have you ever talked with a doctor and they said, I don't agree with what you're saying about foods, I don't agree with what you're saying about the water? You ever had somebody say that?
Absolutely, all the time.
What do you say to them?
Well, first of all, I say, well, doctor, you know, if you open your mind up and listen, sometimes you can learn about something that maybe you weren't taught in your medical curriculum. And they have to have a willingness or an openness to learn. If they're going to be walking around with blinders on and they're going to say, no, I don't believe in that, then it's going to be very difficult to teach them. I actually do lectures for chiropractors, naturopathic doctors, and medical doctors on alternative medicine, and I have medical doctors that attend that. And so they have to just be educated. And I think once they look at it and take a look at it, and remember, I do pre and post objective testing where we can show that what we're doing is actually working. So, you know, if they have an open mind, we can actually teach them or they can learn. But if they have a closed mind, it's going to be very difficult.
Now, you're an author. In addition to being a chiropractor and with additional studies that you've done, you have the radio show, but you're also an author of some books. So tell me a little bit about those.
Well, I just recently is finishing up my first book on thyroid. The name of the book is Your Thyroid Chemistry Doesn't Lie. And what the whole focus of the book is really to teach the layperson basically, you know, this is how the chemistry and physiology works on the thyroid gland. And what most people don't realize is that in conventional medicine, what they try to do is they find if an organ is suppressed or if it's deficient in mineral, they may want to try to put them on a drug to try to nudge that organ to work better, or if it's running too fast, try to slow it down. But really in functional medicine, what we do is we really look at the whole body. We look at the whole endocrine system. So we look at other organs and glands that will actually affect the body's physiology. And some of those could be the adrenal glands. It could also be too much estrogen, toxins in the body, autoimmune disorders. So we kind of look at the whole body, and what we try to do is balance their chemistry out. And by balancing their chemistry out, the body will be able to actually function the way it was designed.
And this brings up another point, and folks, we're going to be going into more detail on detoxification and some solutions that could help you. But I think that we're here at a juncture where I do want to mention that what differentiates alternative medicine from the world of the MD and the DO is that for those who practice alternative medicine, such as Dr. Unger, what they're looking to do is to maximize somebody's good health. You're already pretty healthy, you're already feeling pretty good, but could you feel better? And a lot of people who are in alternative medicine work on that area. Well, what are some of the toxins that you find, for instance, in a home?
Well, we have to realize that toxins in homes, most people don't realize that our homes are our most toxic environment. And we have to realize that, you know, we have what we call outgassing. And when you move into a new home, the plasters, the paints, the new couches, the new furnitures, all these things are going to outgas chemicals. And, you know, people store things in their garage such as, you know, paint and aerosols and disinfectants, and a lot of things are underneath their kitchen sink. And all these things create these chemicals in the air in our house.
So let me clarify this, and if we could come back off the slide. And what you're saying is when sometimes when you get new carpet or you're painting or you have your wood refinished or changes that are made to the home, there are some chemicals which are part of those products which go into the air, and in your opinion that's not necessarily such a good thing to be around.
Well, for some of us, we don't even notice it or recognize it, but for other people who may have an immune system that's suppressed, or they have other chronic illnesses going on, these can actually cause flare-ups with their conditions, or they may, you know, have what we call multiple chemical sensitivity. So these chemicals in the air can actually affect them, and we have to realize that in a house, most of the time, in the summertime, people keep their windows closed with the air conditioning on. Of course, if you live in the Midwest, when the wintertime, we keep our windows closed and we have the heat on. So we don't get a lot of fresh circulating air, and these chemicals are in the air, and we're breathing them actually in, and we're actually getting them into our system.
Right. And again, a point of clarification is that alternative medicine and views on things in the home, there are different opinions on this of people in the United States, and we have not heard from manufacturers to give their view on it. I'm going to guess that there is a very difference in risk depending on what the chemical is that's in the air and how much exposure you have over time. But I just want to mention that we don't have a representative of the manufacturers here to give their view, but we're hearing doctors' opinion on this. And Doctor, I know that your view is shared by many, including those who work with these chemicals in the home. So these toxins to get into your body, but don't a lot of them just break down or go out of your body somehow?
Well, ideally they should, but we have to realize that in our body, the things that actually get them out is the liver. Primarily, that's our primary filter. And what happens is that with the liver, it's called the detoxification pathway. And basically, the liver's job is to take these chemicals and break them down and make them into water-soluble compounds, so they can either be excreted through the kidney or through the colon, or really sometimes through our actual skin, and sometimes gases are released actually through our lungs, such as carbon dioxide.
Okay, for those who agree that detoxification of a body could be an issue, and what might be some symptoms that people who, in your opinion, have a detox issue might have?
Well, the number one thing is sluggishness, basically no energy. And that's probably the biggest thing that they're going to see come back when they detoxify their body. And it's a 21-day program that people actually do. And I'll tell you, the sluggishness will go away. They'll have more energy. You'll see a change in the actual skin. They're going to lose weight. And we have to realize that those are only things that they may see. But on the inside of the body, there's a lot of things that are going to be happening. You're going to be able to rid toxins much easier if you come in contact with them. It's going to allow the chemistry and physiology to function at a more optimal level.
Right.